Coach, I'm going to rattle off some stats. You tell me which one stands out to you about from last Saturday. 138 yards of total offense, time of possession, 42 minutes to 18 minutes, 1 of 12 on third down.
I'll take the 1 out of 12 on third downs. That's probably the one that's the biggest. Really, the whole thing for us going into the game, and I talked to the guys about it yesterday. I probably should have talked to them a little bit more about what the weather was going to be like towards the end, because I really knew that once we got probably about halfway in the second quarter, the weather wasn't going to be really good. And so my whole mission early, the first 2 possessions, was try to get up by 2 scores, and so we have a couple of early balls that, if we pull them in and do some things with them, because we got the right coverages and we got what we wanted, we just didn't execute the play the right way. We just didn't finish the play. Then all of a sudden it's a 14-0 ball game us, and then it totally changes, because I knew going in it wasn't going to be in yardage or anything like that. It was going to be a time of possession. And I knew once Angelo got up by the 2 scores, then it was going to be slow the clock down, run the play clock down as low as you can. And that was the key. But even in the third quarter, we had the wind. And so then we blocked the kick, we blocked the punt, we get a holding penalty, backs us up. We did have a shot there to get up, get 14-7 and try to cut the lead in half, and we just never were able to do it. Time of possession-wise, I don't know. I don't really worry about that much. Because that's kind of it doesn't matter. If we have the time of possession but score 21 points with what we had, we would have been okay with that time of possession. Nobody really cares about that, And I just knew once the score got 2 scores for us, that was going to be the tough thing, just because of the weather, because we weren't going to be able to force the ball downfield and do some things like that we needed to.
Talk about the effort of the defense. Like you said, 42 minutes. They were on the field a lot, but
yeah,
for the 3 quarters, dominated really.
Really, they played great. That's been an outstanding group, and that was kind of the group that we knew we could kind of hang our hat on going into the year. And so I was really proud of them, because they keep fighting and doing what they're supposed to. And really, a couple of those scores were on really, really short fields. Some fumbles and some things like that around their half. And so, you got to kind of tip your hat to them. I wish we could have held them to some field goal kicks and force them that. But really, there was nothing there that I could complain about.
We've talked about Austin before and how big a key he's been for you, but that streak is pretty amazing, isn't it?
Well, it is. The streak of games played at the position he plays. He's going to be getting contact. Everybody laughs. I tell people all the time, it's, the O-line coach and the O-linemen are always the most miserable people ever to be around. It doesn't matter what team you're on or coach or whatever it is. But nobody understands that every day those guys go to practice and they know they're going to hit for 2.5 hours. Every day. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. The only way we can practice is those guys being physical with somebody else. And so you take all the reps that Austin does every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, put those all together with game time speed and all that, and never miss a game. He'd be here for every snap. And then also having to handle the ball, put us in protection calls and run game checks and all that stuff. What a fantastic career, and it's who he is. You get around his family, you get around his parents and all that, and you see how dedicated they are and what type of people they are. It's easy to have a guy like Austin Carson when you're around his mom and dad, and you can kind of really see who he really is. And so just really proud of him. We always joked with Austin when I first got back that we were always going to find a better center. We were always going to out-recruit Austin Carson, and we were never able to do it. He just always kept beating people out, and just the longevity and his temperament has been really fun to have around.
Looking ahead to Western, what sort of challenges do they present?
Well, they got a really good quarterback. Their quarterback's playing really well, and if you go back and you really, they're one of those teams that have been in every game. They had Tarleton on the ropes. They had Kingsville on the ropes last weekend. They had Commerce almost beat. Really, they had Commerce beat. They returned a fumble, got back, had a chance to win the game at the end, and threw an interception right at the end. Had beat Angelo State. So you're talking about a football team that's real opportunistic. It's a tough place to go play. It's kind of like probably playing at Panhandle State. We'll talk to our guys about that a little bit. It's remote. It's hard to get to. Weather could always be an interest. On top of a mountain, you're about 6,000 feet. So altitude is going to be a little bit different for our guys. We haven't been running in condition as much just because of late in the season. So hopefully we're in good enough shape to play at that altitude. I'm a little concerned about that. But other than that, I think it's more that they're just real consistent offensively, and then you look at their defensive, their back end is a bunch of junior college and Division I transfer guys that got good speed and good ball skills. So it's a team that's way underrated. If they catch a couple balls and do some things a little bit different, they're right in the hunt also.
What sort of badge of honor is finishing with above 500?
Well, I think the big thing with that, I tell this story all the time to the new coaches. Whenever we hire somebody new, I can remember my second year here. I think we were 10-2, and we'd won like 20-some games, right? And I can still remember walking into United, and this guy walked up to me when I was standing there getting my sandwich. He said, "Hey, are you guys ever going to advance past the first round of the playoffs?" And I looked at him, I was like, "We just won like 30-some games in 3 seasons, you know? I mean, if we were in the Big 12, we'd all be getting bowl checks and new raises, you know?" And so I explain that to our kids all the time. It's not about being just, you know, a winning record. You got to try to advance and get to the playoffs and things like that. But the winning record for us it's real important. I mean, you're looking at, what, 11 years now, 12 years. That's tough to do in any sport, you know, to end that way. It's real consistency, especially with the young group, you know, with a lot of freshmen and sophomores playing for us. I think that builds a good foundation for the future, knowing that, you know, you get 2 or 3 plays, you're probably an 8-win team, you know, and so then that changes everything. And so, and also it's just positive momentum getting into the spring practice and getting that going also.